Very good evening to everyone and welcome to this next in our Music Revival online live stream series. This is Christopher Duigan coming to you from our home in KwaZulu-Natal on Saturday. I can't remember what the date is. There's something of May. It is the 21st of May. Thank you, Kevin. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you can stay with us for the next hour. It is incredibly cold in this part of the world. If you are in KZN, you know this is probably suddenly a very unseasonal cold snap. It has rained almost consistently for the past 24 hours, which is unusual. So I've got some very, very exciting music, and I hope you're going to enjoy this, and really that you're sitting in a comfortable place for some beautiful music, including Beethoven's Waldstein Sonata, 2 Liszt Études, and a beautiful and really very exciting Chopin Polonaise for you tonight. This evening's concert is sponsored by an anonymous donor. Recently, I asked for feedback and input and support from a number of our supporters. And this evening's supporter had asked, I said, please, Christopher, please play the Waldstein Sonata again. It is my absolute favorite, and I haven't played it for a long time, so I thought, well, what a great choice. Very, very exciting and very, very positive piece of music, and I'm sure you are going to enjoy listening to it this evening. It's always a surprise to me, no matter how many live streams we've done. We always think we're going to get ready early and everything's going to be perfect. And of course, a few little things have gone wrong this evening already. So we're just a few minutes late, but I'm here to delve into this music. This evening, you will also see once again the artwork of Andrew Lyne. Andrew Lyne launching his website, andrewlyneart.com. It was sponsoring last week Wednesday and next week Wednesday, and so you'll see Andrew's art still around and about. You'll see it on the walls and in the various places you'll be focusing on in the furniture, in the visuals that you'll see this evening on the furniture where the artwork is stacked. And please do visit Andrew's website, andrewlyneart.com. He will also be exhibiting at Art in the Country, which is on the Hilton College Road next week, which Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I'm going to start off straight away with the Waldstein Sonata without too much ado, without too much introduction. Beethoven composes this piece really in the mid-period, we call it, of his life, his middle period, where he's really consolidating new ideas and coming up with some incredibly exciting and new concise and very succinct ways of projecting his music into very powerful and strong forms. And this is the Waldstein because it was dedicated to his friend and the patron, the Count Waldstein, who was not only a very close friend and advisor, a pianist himself, but also someone who supported Beethoven, I think, emotionally. He was a great sense of encouragement. He was a patron who supported him financially, very importantly. And I think also so much of that exuberance and that positivity that the Count encouraged in Beethoven, who was often full of doubt and full of despair, even at the best of times, really comes through in this music because it's so full of opulence, brilliance, excitement, radiance. It's sometimes called the Sunrise Sonata in certain languages, certain countries, but the Waldstein is its general name. It's written in 3 movements. The middle movement, Beethoven had originally wrote a piece of music which was a little bit more substantial and decided that it didn't actually fit the balance, principally because the 3rd movement starts off very, very quietly with this very beautiful little theme, very gently before it erupts into these great bursts of sunlight. And so to have a substantial slow movement of very quiet, gentle nature and then leading into this 3rd movement of more quiet and gentle nature to start with wasn't going to work. Beethoven expurgated that 2nd movement and replaced it with a short introduction, very mysterious moment which leads us into, very surreptitiously, into that moment where that beautiful melody appears for the first time. The movement itself, the 3rd movement, then finally erupts. This brilliance of sunlight becomes more and more intense until the music erupts and it really expands. It's really one of the most generous and I think one of the most excitingly transcendent pieces of Beethoven's music, where the music erupts into a bursting daylight, almost like a nuclear explosion, that gets faster and faster and louder, more and more brilliant until it comes to a very climactic end. And the 1st movement has so many different contrasting ideas, but again, throughout, very brilliant, lots of shimmering textures, lots of brilliant note passages up and down the keyboard. A very, very exciting and exuberant piece of music throughout. So there's the complete sonata, I'm going to play in 3 movements, opus 53 in C major, the Waldstein Sonata by Ludwig van Beethoven, to start off this evening's in-concert live stream session. That, of course, was the Waldstein Sonata, the Sonata Opus 53 in C major by Ludwig van Beethoven. Gosh, what a huge piece of music. Of course, it was accompanied by the one and only barking of Little Lucy. Little Lucy, that kennel at the SPCA is beckoning. Where did you learn such manners to behave? In barking in the middle of the Waldstein at the most difficult, off you go, the most difficult moments. Goodness. What an exciting and greatly brilliant piece of music, the Sonata Opus 53 by Beethoven. And come, in your basket. I think that the dogs are, well, they're a little bit upset. We have extra guests in the studio. Welcome to Leon, who's here this evening, who's helping Kevin. We have an extra cameraman, so maybe you're noticing some fresh camera angles and some deft camera work in between all the other goings-on that are happening. Of course, the three puppets are highly amused and highly intrigued by the new visitor during the live stream. So come on, girls, just behave. Just behave. What exciting music there from Beethoven. Well, I'm going to carry on with more brilliant music, this time by Franz Liszt. Two of his concert etudes. These are etudes, pieces of music designed to explore the various elements of piano technique. And of course, in Liszt's case, this is always very brilliant and exciting, very daring and daunting textures. But having said that, they're two actually quite delicate pieces. Come read it in your basket. Quite delicate pieces of music. The first of which, Waldesrauschen, or forest murmurs, or voices of the forest, or spring murmurs. Very delicate piece of music that Liszt is inspired by this idea of rustling of leaves and pretty bird song, and the very gentle but somewhat exuberant and exciting nature, facets of facets of nature itself in a very brilliant and exuberant, as I say, virtuoso piano style. Gosh, I'm out of breath and the dogs are distracting me. I'm not quite sure what I'm saying anymore. I'm talking about Liszt, Waldesrauschen. So a brilliant concert etude, delicate at first and then ending very, very subtly, but full of these rippling textures and it's kind of almost like I think Liszt is expressing, if I'm not mistaken, a sort of pantheist idea of the spiritual world and perhaps God in all nature around us. And the second piece of music that I'm playing for you by Liszt was Sospiro, a sigh, another etude, this time an etude in this beautiful melody which is shared between the hands as the hands cross over back and forward. It's really an etude and a study in various tone colors and subtleties of texture, these rippling chords with the undulating rhythm of that, and then this melody which floats on top. Again, a very hymnal character throughout. Let's hope they are not going to be accompanied by more barking dogs. There is a fan in the background on a computer which has suddenly come on. I'm not quite sure. After 2 years, it suddenly erupted. You can hear it droning in the background. It's at a particular pitch which is interfering with everything that I'm doing this evening. Two etudes by Franz Liszt. The gentle undulations there of Liszt's Un Sospiro, a sigh, that beautiful, really beautiful piece of music accompanied by the rain. You can hear the rain cascading down the windows outside. And before that, a beautiful Waldesrauschen. I'm going to end off this evening's session with a Grand Polonaise, the Andante, Spianato, and Grand Polonaise by Frédéric Chopin. Chopin wrote this piece as a youngster. He was probably about 18 or 19 years old. He wrote it as a sort of calling card, a public display piece on his first tours to Western Europe from Poland, and a great Polonaise, obviously a Polonaise being a Polish dance. It was a piece of music that he could play with orchestra or in a solo piano version, which was rather a novel and clever way of doing it. And his Polish heritage. He also brings forward a great showpiece showing off his brilliant compositional style and his expertise as a composer, as well as his very delicate nature of the nuances and the intimate detail and the finger work that he writes of these beautiful cascading sounds, as well as brilliant outgoing rhythmic finger work as well, typical the virtuosos of the day. And after writing this, he decided to add in front of it an Andante Spianato, Andante being moderate and slow, Spianato being a piece of music that is flat. It's just a word meaning flat. I think it's the only spianato we find in music that I've ever seen. But it just refers to the fact that there's almost like a nocturne atmosphere with this very undulating pattern in the left hand and a beautiful melody in the right. A very flat, static piece of music to introduce the Grand Polonaise before it erupts into all its brilliance and excitement. It's written in what we might call a style brillante, or a brilliant style. It's forward-thinking, it's brilliant and outgoing. It's not a great, profound piece of music, but rather a piece of music that is just meant to delight the ear, tickle the earbuds, be light on the palate. No, Lucy, no barking. Light on the palate, entertaining, and just an exuberance, almost like a sorbet of some sort, although quite a substantial one. So this is the Andante Spianato and Grand Polonaise Brillante by Frédéric Chopin. In your basket. Basket. Come, in your basket. 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 Well, I did warn you beforehand that this was going to be a whirling program of notes, so that does bring an end to this evening's rather exhausting situation. Gosh, big program, a big, huge program for a live stream series, but I hope you've enjoyed this in our session, sponsored by an anonymous donor who principally asked for the Waldstein sonata, and of course was then very happy with the possibility of including those Liszt Études and the Grand Polonaise by Frédéric Chopin. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. If you are able to support me, of course, my plea for financial support is ongoing. Every month the bills keep coming in, and certainly they aren't going anywhere. So I'm very grateful for anyone who is able to support me. It might be the first time if you've been watching, this might be the first time you're joining us, or this might be the many, many times in the last 2 years that you are able to support, and I'm always grateful for every support that does come through. I have been emailing a number of people, a number of our donors and supporters in the last couple of days, just asking for information and giving an idea about how our live streams will move forward. They will probably be less, only 3 or 4 a month as from the month of June, and probably from the end of June or July, they will only be available to those who are paying on a monthly basis a fixed amount to view these behind a gated wall. It's unfortunately the way it is going to have to go, but it will be happening in time. Even Lucy's quite excited about that. Hey, little Luce. Thank you very much, Kevin and Leon, for joining us tonight. Thank you, Leon. Welcome for the first time. Hope you've enjoyed this evening's session. And thanks for Lucy for just barking in all the wrong places tonight. We'll have to see, as I say, that SPCA kennel's looming loose. Thank you for everyone coming along tonight, and we look forward to seeing you on Wednesday when we have another of our piano hour sessions.
Wow.